The next thing he prays is, after praying, strengthen me, he says, and this is one of the best things I'll say today. Hopefully it'll be good. After he says, strengthen me, he says, remember me. Remember me. Now, again, and I don't want to get too technical, but this little word, remember, in the original language that this was written in, the Hebrew language, it's more than just think about me, God, when you can fit me in. It's more than just think about me when I'm really hurting. It's more than that. Samson's believing for more than that when he says, remember me. What he's really saying, and this translation I'm reading doesn't really give it justice. None of the translations do. When he says, remember me, he's actually saying, now we're joined, now there's this adhesion, now we're glued together. He's saying, let's make a memory together. When I read that, I was preparing to go on this trip. When I read that, I thought, that reminds me of when I was a kid and I grew up on this council estate in my hometown, Stoke-on-Trent. And I used to quite often, and I think it was God trying to get to me then as a kid, because I didn't become a Christian until I was 25. But I always used to think, well, not always, I didn't always think about this, but from time to time, this thought would go through my mind. It was a desire I had. I don't want to just live, exist, and die. I want to do something with my life. Now, whatever that would have been, as long as it was God's will, I will die a happy man. So it doesn't mean where you live, how much money you have, how good looking you are. It is this. Am I doing God's will? Because if you do God's will, that's good. If you do God's will, other people are going to be blessed, because it's not about us. And what he's saying here is, now you're strengthening me, now we're glued together, communicate something to me so I know your will, and let's make a memory together. It sounds like a chat-up line, doesn't it? Okay, that's why I only had 2 girlfriends my entire life then, because it's like, let's make a memory together, you know. Will that work, Kath, if somebody approached you in a club when you were a girl and said, hey darling, let's make a memory together? Well, apparently it worked with him and God. Anyway, maybe it wouldn't work with me and Kath when we were kids, but let's make a memory together. So in other words, let's go on an adventure. I'm putting amplification to this now. Let's make a memory together. Let's do something that people will remember. And he absolutely did that. And this is the thing, is that when you get connected to Jesus, guess what happens? When you get connected, he comes in such a way, he changes the way you think, he gives you hope. There's a verse in the Bible that says this. It's in Jeremiah. It says, I know the plans I have for you. Plans not to injure or harm you, but plans to do you good, give you a hope, and give you a future. Jesus, when he was alive, he said this. He said, I have come that you might have. Now here's the thing. I know the rest of the verse, that you might have life. But everything about this relationship with God, and this sounds a bit narcissistic, it sounds a bit self-centered, but the whole intention of God is to give you the things that you need, so your life with him, you can make a memory together. You can do stuff that changes the whole world. I remember growing up, I said to my wife, if you marry me, I want to do something. Now, I wasn't a Christian. I want to do something so that we'll be remembered. I want to live a life that's an adventure. I used to say that. I want to live a life that's an adventure, not boring like I've been having. I want somebody to live with who shares this dream of doing whatever it is that does something. I had this aspirations to be somebody, do something all the time. It was only when I became a Christ follower, only when I got connected to Jesus, that I could really pray properly and say, God, let's make a memory together.